Right, so we're on the woods just literally down the road from the Carbon Wasp workshop, and well, for first impressions, this is, I mean, you always worry when you're on a lightweight carbon bike that it's going to be a noodle. I've ridden some horrors, and even, to be fair, even some of the like proper high-end stuff is really quite flexy. This is properly rigid.
It's a Yorkshire frame though, isn't it?
Yeah, but no, this is very direct, you know. It's just local woods, but you can put in all those kind of power push cues that'll really like pull a frame out of line or do something nasty with ghost shifting, or you know, even, you know, relatively narrow rims, small volume tyres, but it's really precise through the back end. I might have to have a word with the shock chin because it's pretty tight on this, but yeah, I have to say, from a dynamic structural point of view, look at that. I mean, boom, just so clean through stuff. I'm very impressed.
Oh, thank you.
Very impressed, Mr. Smith.
Oh, good.
And of course Chris,
Chris does the hard work.
smirking quietly in the background while laying it up. I mean, even just like sliding it out then, it's a very clean cut, precise, and that's what, and yeah, I mean, that's, now you're going to get me up something steep here, aren't you?
Let's use that 51 log.
Never go full eagle. But yeah, there's a real, oh yeah, grr. That's all the torque delivery you want on that. Feels great. Plus you've done the angles right as well.
Yeah.
At 65.5 degree head.
Yeah.
76 seat, 480 reach on the large, I think.
That's right, yeah. Which is what these are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Ah, this is proper good feral urban riding. But yeah. I mean, this is a bike that properly, you can tell, right? Nearly had me here. It's, you know, it's a proper pop the throttle bike, is this. Exactly what I do to people on my local trails, you swine. No, this is... And actually, that's pretty supple through there. Over the small bump. We say the kinematic and the shock setup is Cane Creek.
Yes. Yeah, so they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, they're really good.
Yeah.
Considering we're like such a small company. Like we've been ordering shocks in like 1s and 2s.
Yeah.
But they're still pretty serious and...
Yeah, that really is good, isn't it?
Yeah. We have to go around the storm damage.
I know. Need a carbon fibre saw to chop it up. But look, I mean, this is a big old bar on the front of this, and there's none of the sort of flex or chop. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a Trek Slash or a Focus Jam, but those things can kind of dish out the advice that will get you in a trial with Johnny Depp. This is just really nice balance. Sorry. So how many have you made so far?
Well, of this version, this is it.
Right. So this is number one, is it? Is yours number one, and then...
Yeah, probably.
Are these brothers then?
Yes. These are the first two out of that mould, but we've done, like, it's a bit of a trigger's broom, isn't it? We've done, like, these stays have been on several versions.
Right, okay.
We've been through a fair few front triangles to get to this. So yeah, we're kind of at the point of going for production, you know. But it's only ever going to be small scale.
Yeah.
I mean, if we sell 50 in the first year, then that's good.
Yeah.
Which is, you know,
That seems...
tiny numbers, isn't it?
Well, I'm certainly not, you know, pedaling here going, oh, How am I going to make this? How am I going to tell him? Yeah, this. I mean, the geometry's bang on for trail.
Yeah.
Fast trail's bang on for this kind of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yet you've got a weight and a responsiveness that cross-country riders are going to really enjoy.
Maybe we'll go for 100 in year one, guy.
Yeah, why not? And have you always been called Adrian, or is that just because you make friends in Yorkshire you've had to change your name?
Yeah.
It's not a pace thing.
Part of the membership.
You weren't cornered. By the way, lad, because they've started not far from here.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Saltel.
Yeah, over that way.
Right.
Rolio.
Let's go. Bit of a dance, but as much as you get with these whips.
Yeah, I've opened the taps on the shop now. Still don't think we're totally there, because there's a lot going on with the Cane Creek, but definitely a lot more fluid and kind of shows off the potential of this bike. He's a proper hustler. Whoop. And also, tell you what's impressive for the weight is how sharp it feels through that front end. Because they're only slim looking tubes, but it really gives, it really kind of speaks to how stiff and how accurate this layup is how well it manages the SID fork up front. There's no yaw or twang. It doesn't feel like it would rather have a SID SL in with smaller legs. You know, you could put a pike in this way. Travel would be a bit of a weird match, I think, because it's 120, 120. But structurally, this is a bike that can be properly pushed hard. Certainly feels like it's these skimpy little tyres that's putting the limits on, rather than anything structural. I've been riding some proper big name, you know, I can't tell you yet because the launch is delayed, but rode something in Italy. Not as slack as this, not as long as this. Similar weights. So much more twangy on the front end. And that kind of topped out at a 32mm leg fork, so having something 35mm fork compliant that's still light enough to be properly rude under power, that's well impressive. And I guess you're going to want comparisons, aren't you? So in terms of stiffness and setup at the moment, I'd say feels like a Spark if I was running it really tight. And given how much that bike's impressed me, that's really damn impressive for a couple of lads. No, I'm not going to even say that. That kind of demeans it. I'm going to say it's just straight up really damn impressive, regardless of who's making it. The fact it is a couple of lads in a small business unit in Leeds is even more awesome. I mean, the fact that you can just pop the nose up and let the back end take it, or, you know, take all these ugly lines that, I mean, there's someone trying to show off their bike. He's taking some risks here. I could have binned it by now if it wasn't up to scratch. So that front wheel could have easily gone where it wants to post it through there. Cheers, mate. But as it is, all you want to do is just get the watts down and absolutely rally this thing. Yeah. Oh, she's very much a bit of me, this bike. Very much. It's born in a wood in Leeds. Let's film it in a wood in Leeds. Yeah, but I realised I got the low speed rebound completely the wrong way on this shot, so now it's properly ground dugging again. So yeah. Oh, I mean, the geometry is proper. Again, the fact that you can leave it late, turn hard, numbers are absolutely spot on, but that doesn't mean anything. All right. If the frame won't you know, if the frame won't respond, if it just ends up flexing outwards and won't commit to the moves you're making, then there's no point having radical geometry. And that's the problem with a lot of bikes in this category. They're either so heavy that there's no point in having not much travel, yes, squeeze, or they're so flexy, there's no point having aggressive geometry on them. I am properly blown away by this bike, because it could have been awkward. I mean, it's always, you know, you don't like to rain on a personal project like this, but this is ace. Adrian and Chris went, so I'll try one for a bit. I'd bloody take their hand off, I really would. These are proper little trail pinner. Really good. I mean, way up. Look, I mean, that on a lot of bikes, this category, that would have been the worst jackknife trip up the front wheel and eat shit. No drama at all on this Carbon Wasp. Truffle, yeah? Because presumably it's looking for the best bits in the woods. And I have to say, well, this is a proper pedigree truffle hound, it really is. Yes, Bracco Italiano, but made in Leeds, lads. Mate, that was sick.
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
Properly, this bike, properly bloody good, mate.
Good stuff.
Properly good. This is great. This is like going to see a band and they're becoming big later. You know, I'm going to go, oh yeah, I rode a Carbon Wasp when they were, yeah, fair play. Right, quick chat around the details.
Yeah.
Right, let's get this done before they both fall over.
Yeah.
So, frame finishes, like you say. We've got the naked carbon there.
Yeah.
And you'll probably be, that'll be kind of stock, but then you paint over the top, correct?
I think so, yeah. And then
But I mean, you can see some really nice detailing on all the finish here. But you say, I mean, this is cross ply on here, isn't it?
Yes, that's,
So-
that's a 2x2 twill.
Yeah.
I mean, that is literally out the mould. You can see where we've sanded it down the seam.
Yeah.
You catch it in the light as like a dull bit.
Yeah.
But that is the tooling block mould finish.
Yeah.
So
And that's
We put some
primarily
lacquer
on
on it.
there, just almost as like a protective layer. Because
Yeah, well-
there's bits of unidirectional as well
yeah,
in the
most
middle,
of this
isn't
frame
there?
is 2x2 actually.
Right, okay.
Because mountain bikes, I think you're like the load casing is so varied, isn't it? And you
Yeah.
just it's
Yeah.
unpredictable. You can't.
Yeah.
I don't think, to be fair, I don't think you can usefully model it even because it's so. You know, you got pedaling, you got forks, something.
Yeah,
you
dropping
go over
it,
some
throwing it
janky
over the back
little-
of a,
exactly.
whatever.
So the 2x2, it gives you insurance, you know, because it gives you, if you put it 0, 90 and 45, you've basically got a full, you know, all the directions, omnidirectional. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then there's UD to in all of the main tube sections because that's you know where you need a bit more stiffness that way. But you know, like your 0 90 gives you your hoops, so you get some compression,
Yeah.
strength and things like that. So.
And I'll point out now that that's not carbon fibre, is it? That's the most basic composite adhesives
Exactly,
there.
yeah.
Before anyone worries that there's big wrinkles on it, I think that's just a bit of gaffer
Yeah.
tape, cosmetic protection on there.
Yeah,
but
this is an old
so
swing arm, so
yeah,
we're like
so
bodged a bit.
single pivot,
Yep,
flex stays,
yep.
and then this little chuck here. Sorry, I should be filming it on the painted one.
Yeah, do the better one.
I'll do the better one. CNC machined lower shock mount,
Is
which
it-
you
yeah.
say you can move around. CNC machine from carbon.
From carbon,
Yeah.
a carbon plate that we make. Yeah. So we just make a flat plate and then we machine out. You know, it's a pretty crude part, but obviously we've got total freedom then to move the shock and play with that. But that was good for development, and this
Yeah.
is what we've arrived at. But for example, if you were
And there's still some bits, you know, without being rude. I mean, presumably you could tidy up the corners on that plate and stuff there.
we're
I
gonna
mean,
make
this
that a
this is
different way now,
literally
yeah.
number 2, and that's number 1.
of a long line of
Yeah,
prototypes. But yeah, exactly.
but I mean, this is very much a kind of working
yes,
prototype.
yeah,
But I mean, things like that. I mean, that's a beautiful.
yeah.
And
one
again,
piece.
that's all moulded one
One
piece.
piece. Yeah.
And Cane Creek Air
Yeah.
shock on all of them. The
Yeah,
inline.
that's standard. I mean, we can do other shocks, and we'll probably sell it without the shock if it's 190 by 50 shocks. If
Oh, so it's nice and
you
easy.
get
Yeah.
your own.
Yeah.
Like, but just because these days, you know, getting older stuff's difficult,
Yeah.
is it? We can
Yeah.
get Cane Creek because they're, like we said before, you know, they're good to work with for people like us.
And that's your own
Yeah, that's just like a 3D printed.
little
same as
3D
that.
printed
Same as
rubber
that,
mould
that's
there.
rubber,
And
yeah.
again,
So
Little
that's
belly
got-
pan on there too.
That bolts on, it's got a carbon back in that, so it's
Yeah.
got a bit of strength, and then that's just, yeah.
Cartridge bearings through it, right through.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Internal cable routing. Obviously, this is running axis, but
Yeah.
it's ready for
Yeah,
internal
you see on
cable
the other side,
routing.
yeah.
Fully dropper ready. 31.6 or 39?
30.9, yeah.
30.9, so no problem there. It's got a
Yeah.
flight on, which instantly makes it way, way better than it would be otherwise, because I'm off of the early 90s. And again, big bar, short stem to go with that properly progressive handling setup.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels beautifully poised as this.
Oh, thank
It's
you,
a
yeah.
proper rally bike.
Yeah.
This is, because there's so many bikes in this category that are just
Yeah.
disappointing. I'm going to say it.
Oh,
A
really?
lot of downcountry bikes just,
Right.
like I say, they're either too heavy
Yeah.
or they're so flexy you can't really rally them as hard.
Right.
There's maybe a handful that are properly convincing, I'd say.
Right.
There's a lot of people paying it lip service and not really doing a decent job of it. This, properly light, properly tight as well, like really, but not in a nasty kind of Germanic way. Now I've got the shock dialed anyway, it's fluid as.
Yeah.
That back end, you know, full travel without it bottoming out. Yeah, no, Cane Creek have done a really good job on that. And obviously, you know, the
Yeah.
architecture it sets into in Bell either, he says quickly, realising what he said. But so I'll let you better do a quick sell on it, haven't you? So price, currently, I always say currently on videos because you never know when people are watching
Yeah,
this.
2.8 frame and shock with the Cane Creek.
Yeah,
It'll be less with no shock, obviously. We need to sort that out. And then we're going to hopefully be able to offer some other options. But again, at the moment,
Yeah.
difficult to get hold of stuff, isn't it? But so that's that's what we're looking at.
yeah.
2.8.
Any colour you want, as long as you can name the car.
There you go.
Possibility of fancy custom beyond that.
Yeah, and like,
If you can name the Boris
Probably, like-
Vallejo fantasy picture of bikini warrior with sword that you want in full trucker fashion.
yeah, I was going
uh,
to say that's probably going to add a couple £100. But if
Yeah.
if you
What,
want
does paint
something
add
a bit
anything?
more fancy, standard paint, no.
Right,
that's
okay.
That. So that's your
But
one colour.
we'll add a bit
And
of
that's-
weight,
and that's
presumably.
the genuine weave. So
Yeah.
that's just mass
Ah, I
cloth.
see, right, yeah, of course,
So
yeah.
that's the same weave as on this one.
Yeah.
Same on the head badge.
Yeah.
That's just mask.
So that's not a Fablon sticker. That's the actual
No,
bike showing through.
that is-
But presumably lighter naked as well.
Genuine. Yeah, it does add a bit, but
I'll add a can of paint, I
for
guess.
me, just I like.
You like yellow, don't
Well,
you?
we've
Which is the whole carbon wasp thing.
There you go. That's it, isn't it? Straight off the 90s. I think, yeah, as a kind of new brand, or new to new to a lot of people, we, I think we might battle with kind of credibility, because we haven't got a history of launching bikes.
Yeah.
We do have a history of making bikes, but so I think for me, like the bare weave kind of looks a bit homemade whenever I like, but then we see it every day at work, so
Yeah, whereas
Not
to
got
most
that
people,
allure.
that still looks super sexy
yeah.
and hard, people still stick that on their Focus Fiesta. And, that's the sign of an M5, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why you do up your Focus Fiesta with a bit of carbon, carbon effect sticker.
But to me
'Cause it
that
looks-
looks
Yeah,
finished.
yeah,
It's
that looks like, yeah.
I mean, yeah, look, if someone comes, like, it'd be the same cost, but we put some stickers and some lacquer and
Yeah.
it's good to go. But yeah, for me, the paint job's the way to go.
Well,
But yeah,
what I say matters, I'm prepared to throw. I mean, obviously, I've only ridden it quickly in the woods here, but nothing went pop, bang, or crack.
Good start, isn't it?
It held together in terms of handling really, really well. So
Yeah.
I'd throw my credibility, certainly off this ride.
Right.
And
That's great, yeah.
I've ridden a lot worse from people who've been doing it a lot longer, even relatively recently. So, cracking job, mate.
Thanks. That's good. That's really good to hear. It's kind of what we were aiming for. Like, it's not.
It's way better. I mean, this is going to. There's not many ways of saying this without sounding rude, but it's way better than I expected.
Right,
I mean, I've been in situations like this before when my wife has literally told me, forbidden me, stood in front of me at the door and gone, "You're not riding that again." Because I've literally been, bikes, homemade carbon fibre bikes, where I've pulled the front brake on and I've had to be steering it so it didn't hit the down tube.
Right.
You've literally had to choose
Yeah.
which way the front wheel went either side of the down tube.
But then it's not.
And
homemade.
that's terrifying. Well, no, it's not, but someone who
Handmade.
said they'd worked for NASA.
Right.
That
yeah.
was, classic bullshit.
Yeah.
But you're dealing with
Don't know what
someone
they were
who's...
doing, do you?
Yeah, exactly. They might have been the janitor. But no, I'm amazed how... I think stiffness is the thing I'm most surprised at with this.
Right, okay, yeah.
Because that's the obvious metric that normally lets a really light bike down, especially with progressive geometry.
Right.
So.
Oh, good. I mean, yeah, this is
Fair play, mate.
It's what we've been trying to do. So, like,
and you've done it.
I'm glad that you're saying all that. But
thumbs up. Don't we do that?
New school fist pump.
Yeah,
Nice.
Exactly. I think at our age, we should probably take our top hats off, but you know. So available now.
Available now.
Well, within 2 weeks.
Yeah, it gives a couple of weeks. We've got
Right.
to like put the kettle on and.
Yeah, you got to make mine first.
Yeah, yeah.
That's another conversation to have. But look, massive thanks to Adrian and Chris for taking time out, show me the local trails, and let me into the history and the background on Carbon Wasp. Been fascinating.
Yeah.
And really, really impressive. Massive thanks to Giro Cycling, to Petey's and to Crud and Sweet Protection, sponsoring the channel. Thanks very much to my Patreon supporters who will get all these videos first, longhand, without ads on them, as a thank you for a small monthly pledge. So if you really like what I'm doing with the channel, please get involved on Patreon. If you're not already a subscriber, subscribe, click for notifications so when your next videos come out, you'll know about it, and give it a thumbs up like, because that makes a big difference to whether YouTube shares it more or less. But for now, I've been Guy Kesteven with Adrian Smith and Chris back at the workshop in beautiful Leeds.
Yeah.
On the seriously impressive, handmade in Yorkshire, Carbon Wasp Truffle.
Thanks.
Reach good downcountry bike. It's just all the little stuff, like how clean and clear all the little shifts, and even the freewheel pickup and stuff like that feel. This is the bit where I remember all the things I should have said and just do them on the way back to the van.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Cheers, mate. You know, you don't have to necessarily go to some massive rock garden to really feel that tightness and strength and stiffness within different elements of the frame.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on bigger tyres and bigger forks, so I was probably leading you on astray with those.
Yeah, but it was absolutely fine. It really handled it well.
I mean, that's the plan.
And I tell you what, the kinematic's great. I mean, I'm not dropping into the travel at all here.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know,
I mean, the reason we went for that was it's just tried and tested, isn't it?
yeah.
I mean, there's a reason Santa Cruz went for it on the Blur, isn't it? And transition.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it's incredibly hard to do.
Yeah.
It's like, again, it's generally the rebound that's really hard to get right.
Right.
So many people overload the rebound, or
Okay.
so it ends up the shop just kind of. It just feels really
down.
dulled, yeah.
Right.
Or it just feels really uncontrolled. You know, it gets quite hysterical quite easily. It's actually a really hard trick to pull off.
Well, I'll obviously agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, fair play. I mean, I'd be more than happy to stick this in the van and take it on TNFC tonight. And that's something I'm very picky about the bikes I use on, because I'll get a kicking if they're not up to scratch. This is genuinely one of the best bikes I've ridden in this category. Just behind a parking lot from Leeds. I bloody love mountain biking and the people involved in it. Because I mean, just around the corner, you've got Restrap, you've got Can't Quit, all sorts of people I could just pop in, all at the top of the game, all just little 1 or 2 man setups. Well, Restrap's grown from there, but just make, you know, well, that's what's awesome about the bike industry and about people who are really passionate about it, is that it scales to this level.